It was the wedding of the year in Dubai, an event that captivated the Middle East with its glitz, elegance, and social media sparkle. Noor al-Fahim, a 24-year-old Instagram star and self-made financial advisor, had just married Adnan Rahmani, the charming heir to one of the wealthiest construction families in the UAE. Their love story played out in luxury hotels, five-star beach resorts, and viral wedding reels dripping with gold, rose petals, and promise. It seemed like a match made in heaven. Two young, beautiful elites at the peak of influence, showered in admiration and envy. But behind the designer gowns and perfect filters, something was already breaking. What no one knew, what even Noor didn't know, was that her fairy tale was laced with poison. And by the time the honeymoon began, it was already too late to escape it. The couple departed for the Maldives just hours after their wedding, eager to start a new chapter and to show it off online. They were staying in a private overwater villa that cost more per night than most people's annual income. Noor continued to post smiling selfies, breakfast spreads, and affectionate couple shots to her 2.4 million followers. But in the shadows of those perfect images, Noor was watching. Something was wrong. Adnan was different, distant, tense, constantly texting someone when he thought she wasn't looking. On the third day, a mistake changed everything. Adnan left his phone unlocked. Noor didn't mean to look, but what she found shattered her. Flirty messages, secret videos, voice notes. Her husband was cheating on her. Right now, during their honeymoon, her hands trembled as she read the name of the other woman, and then everything went cold. It wasn't just betrayal, it was madness. The messages were from Yasmin, her sister, her dead sister. Yasmin had been declared dead 8 years earlier after a mysterious accident at a Rahmani construction site. An accident the families had buried quickly and quietly. Noor had mourned for years. She had lit candles, cried herself to sleep, and written letters she never sent. And now, here Yasmin was, alive and intimately involved with her husband. It didn't make sense. Noor thought she was hallucinating, but the voice in the messages was unmistakable. The face in the secret videos was the same. Aged, worn, but her sister's. It wasn't a mistake. It was a secret that had been kept from her for nearly a decade. Panicking, Noor called her father. His reaction chilled her more than the betrayal itself. Cold, dismissive. "Let it go," he said. "It's better this way." That night, Noor couldn't sleep. She dove headfirst into digging up the past, desperate for answers. What she found was more horrifying than anything she could have imagined. Yasmin hadn't died in an accident. She had been sold, trafficked by both families in a deal disguised as a cover-up. When Yasmin had discovered that Rahmani contractors were abusing and exploiting undocumented workers, she had threatened to go public. The family silenced her by selling her into a trafficking network that catered to Dubai's richest clients. Noor realized she had been raised in a gilded prison of lies. Her education, her career, her lifestyle, everything had been built on the suffering of others. And now her sister, used and discarded, was back. But not as a victim. Yasmin had become something else. She had survived, but it had twisted her. She and Adnan had started their affair during the wedding preparations. Yasmin said it was revenge, but Noor could see it was also a cry for help. On that island, the three of them became trapped in a boiling storm of secrets, manipulation, and rage. Yasmin hated Noor for believing she was dead. Adnan mocked Noor for being too innocent to understand how the world really worked. And Noor, heartbroken, horrified, and burning with vengeance, made a decision that would change history. She waited until the final night of the honeymoon. She set up hidden cameras. She confronted them both and recorded everything. The laughter, the threats, the admissions. Then, in a moment of terrifying calm, she walked out of the villa and locked the doors behind her. Inside, a small fire began. Authorities say it started with a knocked-over candle. But Noor's phone, recovered from the sand outside, told a different story. The footage, leaked days later, showed a confrontation so raw, so disturbing, that it launched an international scandal. Yasmin and Adnan died in the blaze. Noor was found unconscious on the beach, her skin burned, her voice gone. She died 2 days later in a hospital in Dubai. But her recordings, those last moments of bravery, exposed the largest human trafficking ring ever uncovered in the UAE. Arrests swept across the country. Executives, politicians, and even members of royal-adjacent circles were implicated. Noor's family disowned her memory, calling her unstable and manipulated. But to thousands of trafficking survivors, she became a martyr. Shelters were named after her. Victims she never met found the courage to speak up because of her story. What began as the most glamorous honeymoon in Dubai's history ended as a nightmare, but it also sparked a reckoning. Noor Al-Fahim, the bride who lost everything, became the voice that justice had been waiting for. This is not just a crime story. This is a horror story hiding behind money and power, behind tradition and blood. This is the truth they never wanted you to hear. And that's why we tell it. Subscribe to Netflix Crime Story for more real cases that expose the darkest secrets of the Middle East, where every perfect life hides a price, and sometimes justice comes dressed as revenge.